He said, what? This is the response to bad combat? Is we did it on purpose? This is like uncanny amounts of copium I've ever seen. This is not a good response to the combat being bad. This is a bad response, okay? I would rather you have the aspirations to make combat great and you failed than your actual goal is to make combat bland and you succeeded in every single way. This is not a good excuse for the combat being bad, okay? This is a terrible, this is the wrong statement to make. Space combat was way harder than we thought. We saw lots of space games when we were gonna have like derelict ships or other things flying around. We get a sense of motion. So smallest things were like, what does dust in space look like? Okay, so I get it, all right? They have not built a game ever in space. Space combat is a whole different dimension they've never really tackled. But there's really never made games where there's really any kind of air space kind of combat. So I get that they didn't have much to use from their past experience, but they looked at other games like Faster Than Light, for instance, for power allocation. They used other games as inspiration, but like, you made the combat AI bad on purpose? Like, what is that? Like, that is not what that's not what I want to hear. I want to hear that you tried to make AI, space combat AI, great and that you failed and that you'll fix it in a patch. I don't want to hear that you made it bad on purpose. Space combat is already very boring, and the fact that now that I know that you made it basically boring, redundant, and repetitive on purpose does not help the fact that it's still boring, redundant, and repetitive. It's very easy to make enemies really smart. Forever we were just jousting with them. It turns out you have to make AI really stupid. You have to have them fly, then they need to just turn, basically say like, hey player, why don't you just shoot me for a while? Once we settle out our pace and how the enemy is going to fly, that's where it came together. So space combat is very simple, okay, in Starfield. Basically, the enemy ships will fly right at you, shoot you, then fly off for a good distance until they're like a good distance away, turn around, and then fly at you again. So it's basically a bunch of head-on collisions over and over again until one of you die. And if there's multiple ships, they'll just all do the same thing at you over and over again. So this is literally by design to be terrible. Honestly, I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I was having some trouble keeping the enemies in my crosshairs before I pumped some points into targeting. Okay, this is just wrong, dude. They literally fly right at you. How could you even miss? I can understand if you're like, if they're like turning away to like go fly away to then turn around again. If you're like trying to like keep the reticle on them, maybe it's difficult, but like, so we're gonna use Todd Howard's aiming ability to basically design our enemy combat AI in space. That sounds like a terrible idea. And that's with all the AI that dangles their blastable hulls in the front of your deer caught in the headlights. I love a good FPS, but if you put me behind the wheel of a ship, I'm likely to run into the first thing I see, like a chunky metal moth to the sun. What? Like, space is almost completely empty. Like, you sometimes have the rare asteroid field that you have to do, but even if you run into an asteroid at full speed, you'll just bounce off. Like, there's no actual damage. If you go into a space station before you dock at full speed, your ship doesn't blow up or take damage. Like, what? This doesn't even make any sense. There's no downside to running into shit. If you run into shit, you just bounce off or you slow down. It doesn't make any sense. Still, it's interesting to see the kinds of compromises dev teams have to make, especially when designing something completely out of their comfort zone. Okay, this is the only reason I give Bethesda like a little bit of leeway, is basically they've never done anything quite like this. There's nothing really comparable to this in any other Bethesda game, but the fact that they basically were like, you know what, we had an AI for combat in space that was better, that was more sophisticated, that tried different tactics, but that was too difficult because Todd Howard couldn't get the reticle on them. So then we decided to make the AI really stupid and do like the same two maneuvers over and over again. I don't want to hear that. Like, that is bad. I want to hear that you want a sophisticated AI that tries different things. I don't want to hear that you made the AI dumb on purpose so Todd Howard could get the reticle over the enemy AI ship easier. Okay, like, what? This isn't good. If you made AI ship combat bad by design, what else in the game is literally bad by design? What? I really can't believe he would come out and say this is really bad. I like I always say it makes for a good headline. Like, yeah, you make the AI stupid on purpose. But even the combat AI, normal combat AI, all the AI in the game isn't that great. So the fact that you're like, did they make normal combat AI stupid on purpose? Did they make your companion AI stupid on purpose? Maybe they did, because apparently they made combat AI in space dumb on purpose. Yeah, I don't even know. I would not have said this. This is a Todd Howard L for sure.